Yeah. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So today we'll discuss about something like a Git and GitHub, DurgaSoft Git GitHub. So what we will cover in this course? So we'll cover Git and GitHub. What is Git? What is GitHub? So myself, guys, I'm Hari Cheruku, DevOps consultant and solution architect with over 12 plus years of industry experience as a real-time and training. So I have done some few certifications, guys. Some of those are I'm ITL certified V3 and I have done Red Hat certified system administrator and I have done Red Linux engineer, Red Hat certified Linux engineer and I am a AWS certified solution architect and I am a certified Kubernetes administrator. Guy. So in this course, so what we will cover, this course will cover, what is this course? Guy? This course is Git and GitHub. We'll show you little bit about the GitLab also and Bitbucket also I will show you. Okay. So what are the prerequisites to learn this course, guys? So the prerequisites is so nothing, guys. Everyone can learn. A developer or a operational engineer or a QA engineer, so whoever. So nowadays everyone is using the GitHub, GitLab or Bitbucket, guys, to store their information. Okay. The duration, the duration of this course is 5 days, guys. From Monday to Friday. Friday, and the trainer is Mr. Hari. You're all 12 plus years of experience, guys. The class timings 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST, guys, every day. So what we will provide in this class, so we'll provide you the soft copy of a material and class notes, okay, and recorded videos will share via Google Drive, right? Okay. So, so what we will provide? We'll provide the soft copy, class notes, and recorded videos. So we'll share via Google Drive, guys. So right, and what we will cover in this course. So, so what are the topics cover in this course, guys? So what we will cover: the agenda, introduction to Git and GitHub, uses of GitHub user interface, command line usage of Git. So towards to advanced uses. So what are the prerequisites, guys, to learn this course? So none, guys, but pay attention. So it will be very easy. Okay, so what we will cover in this class, we will cover the module one, introduction to version control system. So what is version control system? Types of centralized and distributed version control system. So benefits of version control system, introduction to Git, history of a Git and GitHub, GitLab and Bitbucket. So installation and configuration, guys, installing it on Windows, Linux, Mac OS, basic bit configurations, and Git GUI tools versus command line. So in the Git GUI tools, we'll discuss about the So we'll discuss about VS Code and the Eclipse, guys. So how the developers are um, cloning their repository in the Git, that Eclipse I will show you, and the VS Code also will show you, guys, and the command line also will show you. So Git basics are creating a Git repository, cloning a repository, directory structure, checking the status, adding files, committing the changes, viewing the history log, and working with branches, understanding the branches, creating the branch, switching the branch, merging the branches, conflict resolution, so deleting the branches, And the module 5 will discuss about the Git workflow and the collaboration. So remote repositories, and pushing changes, pulling changes, fetching and changes, forking and pull request, and GitHub, GitLab fill flow. So upstream repositories and undoing and resetting the changes, Git checkout versus Git restore, Git reset, Git revert, Git stashing, and Git clean will show you. The tags and releases will show you the tags and releases all guys. And Git advanced topic rebase, cherry pick, FOXO, Git ignore and Git attributes will show you. And will in the ninth module will show you Git GitHub, creating a repositories on the GitHub. So SSH key configuration, collaborator access, issues, projects and actions will show you guys. The real time scenarios will show you Git workflow strategies, Git flow, GitHub flow, the team collaboration practices, Git in DevOps pipeline, and Git alias productivity tips, security in Git will show you these guys. Okay. So what is the adoption? Something like so we'll show you this 10 modules in the these 5 days, guys. Guys understood? Guys, Chintu understood, right? Chintu?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what we will cover in this course, I already told you, right? That 9 modules. And so what is version control, source code management tool? What is Git? Why Git? We'll discuss. So version control system or source code management tool. So what is version control system? Or a source code management tool. So what is version control system? What is source code management tools? What is it? So why we need source code? Actually, for example, these are the developers. What these all are? So these all are developers. So these all are developers. So for example, some of the guys are working in Hyderabad. This guy is working in Hyderabad, and this guy is working Pune, and this guy is working in the Chennai, and this guy is working in the US. Right. So these people are working in the so different locations. So whatever they are developed that code, right? They need to so store it under some other way. So something like these people are developed that code. How to integrate all the developers code at one place, guys. What is that? How to integrate all the developers code at one place. So this is the one issue. The second issue is how to track how to track code changes. How to track the code changes in the project, right? So these two are facing the issue, something like how to integrate all the developers code at one place, and how to track the changes in the project, something like who modified, when modified, what modified, so why modified, right? So what is a source code management tool? So source code management tool is so multiple developers will work for a project development. Developers will working on the multiple locations. All developers code should be stored at one place. To integrate all the developer source code at one place. So we will use the source code repository software. So what is that, guys? A source code repository software is the a source code repository software. Source code a repository a software. What this is? This is a source code repository software to integrate all the developer source code at one place. So we will use the source code repository softwares. So like what these are, something like a GitHub, Bitbucket, or something like a GitLab or AWS repo or Azure repo. Okay. So we have number of source code management repositories, source code management repositories. So for example, these, so multiple developers will work for the same project development. Developers will be working from the different locations. All the developers code should be stored at one place. To integrate all the developers source code at one place, we will use the source code repository tools, guys. Guys, understood? So this is the a source code repository tool. So what they will do, they will send the code, they will send the code through code to the a source code repository tools. So for example, this is the a Facebook repository. What this is? A Facebook, so Facebook code repository. So this Facebook code repository, the whatever the developer develop that code and push it to the a source code repository. So how they can push it? They can push it via Git client. How they can push it, guys? They can push it to a client, a Git client. So this is also a Git client. They install the Git client and they will push it to the remote repository. They will push it to the remote repository. Yes, understood? Yes, understood? So what this is a GitHub repository. For example, you guys, is the GitHub repository. They will send the Facebook, whatever the developer code, right? They will send it to the right. So, for example, this guy is sent, right? And what we will track, so we will track, so who modified this code? So, when modified this code, right? When modified this code and what modified, what modified and why modified. Guys, so all these things are tracked by the your Git repository. All these are tracked by the Git repository. So, for example, if you push this code to Google Drive or OneDrive or S3 bucket, right? That so it will be a central location where the code is storing, but so it will not track the code, something like who modified, when modified, someone is deleted the code. So right, but I pushed the code, someone deleted, I want that code. So I need to check the tracking, I need to check the history, who deleted the code. Right. So everything will be taken care by the that Git repositories. Guys, understood? So what is source code management tool? Guys, understood? So how to track the changes in the project? How to track? So they will track the changes, who modified, when modified, what modified, why modified. They will track, guys. So by using Git, they will track it. So what is a Git? Right, a Git and GitHub. So this is the Git client, right? So in the Git client, you can install the Git on your local, and this is the remote repository. What this is, I will show you. So what this is, for example, github.com, right? So this is the Git repository. What this repository? This repository is the DS Git 3. So the code is available in the this repository. This is nothing but a GitHub. repository where the people are connected to this GitHub repository and push their code. So this is nothing but a GitHub, gitlab.com. I think I signed into. So what is that? GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket is the repository, remote repository where our code will be pushed to that remote repositories. Where our code will be pushed to that our remote repositories. Is understood? So what is the code? 845044. 1 second. Okay. So this is my repository, AWS repository. Okay. All the code will be available under the AWS repository. This is GitHub. The same like as a Bitbucket, guys. So same like as a Bitbucket, you can send that code to the Bitbucket. Okay. Mm, this is my original github.com. Yeah, guys. So this is my repository, AWS DevOps material. So I uploaded all the material in the AWS DevOps. Guys, understood? So this is my repository. I pushed all my code to this repository. I pushed all the code to this repository. You see that? So what is the commit message is when it was committed. So this is the commit ID. It will be very tracking. Everything will be tracked. Everything will be tracked. Okay. Understood? So this is nothing but a GitHub repository. In the Git, what this Git client, guys? So you can install the local in our local. So you can install the Git and you can whatever the code you can write it. You can write it here. Push it to from your local Git to a remote repository. And so we can use whatever the code, right? We can write it here, the code in the VS Code, and we can push. We can get the communication between your client and your Git client and uh, remote repository. Then we can you can write the code and you can push it to the remote repository. So it will be who tracked, when tracked. So something like how they can check it. You see something like a Git log. So Git log, something like so this is the commit ID and so who author. So something like Harris are pushed that code when this was pushed and what is the commit message. So from this commit ID we can revert back, we can reset. So right, so it will be tracking. It will be a tracking. Yes, understood? So now what is a Git? So what is a Git, guys? So what is a Git? Git is a version control system for tracking changes in computer files. It's generally, I will show you this. Yeah. So what is a Git, guys? Git is a version control system for tracking changes in computer files. It's generally used for source code management in software development. Source code management in the software development. Guys, understood? What is Git? Git is a version control system. Git is yeah, I will tell you the version control system. So what is this, guys? So multiple developers will work on the multiple developers will work for the project development, right? Project development and developers will work from the different locations. Developers will be working from locations, multiple locations, and developers all developers code should be stored at one place. Store at one place. And so what is that? To integrate all the developer source code at one place. To integrate all the developers source code at one place. So we will use source code. So we will use source code repository, software. So what are the source code repository softwares? Like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, Bitbucket, AWS repo, and Azure repo. Okay, etc. We have a number of source code repository tools. Is understood? So what is Git? What is a Git? So what is that? Git is a version control. Git is a version control software. Version control software. So it's a distributed control system. What is that? It's a distributed control system, not centralized. I will discuss. I will tell you what is centralized and what is centralized. Okay. So it is used to track. It is used to track and manage changes to files locally. What is this, guys? So Git is a locally. What is this? So it is used to track, manage changes to files locally. How to track, guys? So I already showed, right? So how to track these files? So this track these files, track and manage changes to the files locally. Nice, understood? So Git is a open source. What is that, guys? Git is a Git is open source. Git is a open source. Yes, understood? Yeah. So now, what is GitHub? What is GitHub? So what is a GitHub, guys? What is a GitHub? So GitHub provides. Yes, Ranjit. These all are open source only. Git is a open source. So Git developed by the Linus Torvald. I will tell you. Okay, Ranjit. These all are open source only.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So GitHub. So what is a GitHub? GitHub provides a web-based Git repository. What is this? A web-based Git repository. What is this? This is a web-based Git repository. So web-based Git repository hosting service, which provides a web interface to upload the services. So what is that? So GitHub provides a web-based Git repository hosting service, which provides a web interface to upload the files. Yes, understood? What is GitHub? So Bitbucket. So Bitbucket also same. Bitbucket is a Git repository management solution designed for professional teams. It provides a central place of managing Git repositories, collaborate on source code, and guide the developers process. Same guys. GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket. These all are the same. So GitLab is a service that provides a remote access to the Git repositories and provides a internal management Git repositories, keeps your user code private and deploy the changes on user code and provides user-friendly web interface layers. User-friendly, so web interface layers. Guys, understood? Yeah. So what are the benefits of a version control system? So what are the some benefits of So restoring the previous versions, understanding what happened, and backup, and collaborating, storing the versions also. Right. So these are the some benefits of the version control system. So the version control systems are two types. One is a centralized version control system. The other one is, so what is that? One is a centralized version control system. The other one is a distributed version control system. Okay. So what is centralized? What is distributed? I will tell you guys once again. Yep, guys. So source code management, there are two types of source code management tool. So one is centralized version control system. The other one is the distributed version control system. So what is the drawback? So before Git, which source code management tools are using? They are using the CSV and the subversion. You already know the subversion, right? The subversion, SVN and CSV they are using. So SVN is a centralized version control system. Git is a distributed version control system. What is that? So this SVN is a centralized version control system. The Git is distributed version control system. So that centralized version control system means so in this is our laptop. So from your working station, directly we push the code to the remote repository. If something goes wrong on the remote repository, the code will lose. So we will lose the code, right? So for that purpose, a big innovation part came into the picture. That is a distributed version control system. So this is a Git is a distributed version control system. So this was developed by the Linus Torvald. Who developed the Linux? So that guy developed the Git and he released as a open source. So what is the advantages of the distributed version control system? So here we have a working copy and we have a local remote repository and remote repo. So local Git repository and remote repositories. Git remote repository, Git local repository. So from the workstation to you will update the code in the local repository. So from the local repository to you will push the code in the remote repository. If you have any issues with the remote repository, we have a code with the local repository. If you have any issue with the local repository, we have a code with the remote repository. Right. So in the distributed version control system, so code will be available in the remote repository as well as local repository. So what is a remote repository? So remote repository is nothing but this is the remote repository. Either GitLab, Bitbucket, this is a remote repository. And my code will be available under the local repository also. So where the local repository? So for example, you see, right, DS Git 3. This is the local repository. My code will be available under the local repository as well as a remote repository. First, we need to push that code to our local repository. From a local repository, we are pushing the code to a remote repository. So remote a repository. You guys understood? So what is the difference between centralized version control system and a distributed version control system? Okay. Yeah. So GitHub. Now you understood the GitHub, right? GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. So what is that? GitHub is a platform which is used to store project-related files or source code at one place. Source code at one place. GitHub is a platform which is used to store project related files or source code at one place. At one place. In GitHub, we can create a source code repository to store the project code. What is that? In GitHub, we can create a source code . source code repository to store project code. So what is that? All developers can connect to the project repository to store the source code. To store the source code. What is that? So all developers can connect to the project repository to store the source code. So code integration will become very easy. So the code integration will become very easy, right? All developers can connect to the project repository to store all the source code, all the source code. So what is that? Is code integration will become very easy. Code integration will become very easy, and GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. GitHub repository will monitor all the code changes. Here you see 211 commits are there, and so when this was modified, who modified, right? So it will track, guys. GitHub repository will monitor all code changes. So we'll monitor the all code changes. Yes, understood? How they will monitor, guys? How they will monitor? I showed you, right? Who modified, right? When modified, what modified, who modified, when, what, why modified. So this will be tracking all the changes. So this will be tracking all the changes, right? So what is this? Yeah. So this is the Git, guys. So this is the working directory. Whatever the code you write it here, and first push it to the staging and tracker to track, from the track to the local repository. So by using git add and git commit, so we can add the files to the your local repository. So from your local repository to we can pull the code from local repository to remote repository. So from the local repository to remote repository. So we have our code will be available at our local repository and remote repositories and remote repositories. These remote repositories should be GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, AWS repo, Azure repo. Okay, so many remote repositories are there. So right, so how these remote repositories came into the picture, I will tell you. I will tell you, guys. So who developed Git? Right? Who who developed the Git? Who developed the Git, guys? Who developed Linux? Does anyone knows? Guys, speak out, guys. Who developed Linux? Does anyone knows Linux here? Ranjit, Vivek, Nikhil.
No idea, sir.
No idea, no? No worries. Yeah. So Linux developed by someone pinged. No. Okay. Yeah. So this Git is developed by Linus Torvald. Who is this? Linus Torvald, guys. Linus Torvald. Yes. So this is the guy developed Linux as well as Git also. This guy developed the Git. Okay. So Linus Torvald. Okay. Developed the Git. He released as a open source. Guys, what is open source?
We can use free without paying.
Very good. Very good. So one point is so free of cost. No need to purchase. Right. Other point is source code also available. What is source code, guys? So source code is nothing but a so the Git developed by the language, right? So that source code also available. So this source code took this source code. So what is this? So some of the guys get this Git source code. What is that? For example, Git code. So took that Git code. Yeah. What is CLI, guys? Command line interface. What is that? So how we can work with Git? We can work with Git through command line only. So this he released as a open source, right? So some of the companies took that source code, released as a open source. So some of the companies are took that source code and created their own type of GUI tools, their own type of Git GUI tools. So what those are? So something like GitHub. So this is Git GUI. So this is also Git GUI. Okay. So this is also Git GUI. Okay. So GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. So GitHub, before it is GitHub community, now it acquired by the Microsoft. So Microsoft, GitLab community only, Bitbucket, Atlassian, Atlassian. So you already know the Atlassian, right? Jira is the ticketing tool.
Yes.
So the Atlassian is yeah, developed. Bitbucket was developed by the Atlassian company. Okay, so Bitbucket was developed by the Atlassian company. You see, it will show Atlassian. Yeah, you see, Atlassian company developed by the Bitbucket. So this is GitLab. This was developed by the Microsoft. Okay, so these three companies are took that source code and created their own GUI tools and created as a remote repositories. Is created as a remote repositories. Yes, understood. So whatever we had done the through CLI, whatever the commands you are using and working with this CLI commands, you can do the same commands as a GUI. We can do the same commands as a GUI. Going forward, you will understand. Okay. What these are? These are remote repositories. Remote repositories. Yes, understood.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. What is that? It lists as a Git CLI. So how you can work with through Git commands? Like what are the commands? You see here. So this is Git CLI. git. You can see these are the commands. All are git clone. Before that, you can use git clone, git init, git add, git move, git restore, git rm. So git diff, git grep, git log, git show, git status. So git commit, git branch, git merge, git rebase, git reset, git switch, git tag, git fetch, git full, git push. So these all are the commands. We can use these commands, and so we can work on the git. So we can work on the git. Guys, understood? So what are the git commands? So few of the commands are git add, git commit, git status, git push, git pull, and git clone, etc. Guys, understood? So what are those commands? The commands are few of the commands are git add, git commit, git checkout, git match, git push, git pull. Guys, so now you understood, right? Very good. So right, so these all are the git commands. So what are the git GUI tools, guys? Now you understood the git GUI tools. What are the tools, guys? Git GUI tools. Guys, just now we discussed it, right?
GitLab, GitLab,
GUI.
GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket.
Very good. Very, very good. So it's very simple. Nothing to worry about it. Right, guys? Is it easy or not? GitLab, AWS repo, Azure repo. Right. So these all are the Git GUI tools. Guys, understood? So what is a Git client? What is Git client? It is Git client. So what is Git client, guys? So this is the Git client. What this is? This is a Git client. Right. First a Git client. Git client also known as a Git or Git bash. It is used in developers or QA, DevOps or operation hostel team. So that that mission that connects with the GitHub developer mission. What is that, guys? What is Git client? So Git client also known as a Git client also known as client also known as Git or Git bash. What this is, guys? This is a Git bash. What this is, guys? This is a Git bash. I will show you this. Yeah, this is a Git bash. I will show you how to install this one. Okay. Yeah. So Git bash is used in developer mission that connect with connects with GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. Okay. So they connect with GitLab, or GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket. Now you understood? So yeah. What is the repository? Now you understood the repository, right? What the repository? The repository is to store the code. For example, what is the repository? AWS DevOps material is the repository. What this is, guys? This is a main. We have how many branches? So every repository contains the branches. Every repository contains a branches. So something like the production, whatever the production is, production environment, right? So that code will be available under the main. So whenever you create the repository, a default branch will create. What is that branch? So maintains a separate code base for applications like development branch, we have a development environment code. So production branch, we have a production environment code, or we have a UAT staging. But in the main, whatever the code is there in that production, that code will be available under the main. So whenever you create a repository, a default repository will be created. That repository is main repository. What is the repository, guys? This is the main repository. For example, developer develop that code, developer clone this code and create a new branch and develop their features and push it to the main branch with the reviewer, your lead or your manager, with the review of your manager or leader. So they cannot directly push it to the main. You can create a branch and you can write the code and push the code or merge the code, right? Merge from future branch to main branch. So that is nothing but a branch. You understood? Whenever you create a what is that, guys? Sorry, branch. So what is the branch? Branch is nothing but a to maintain separate code base for applications like development branch, production branch, UAT branch, stage branch, hotfix, testing, right? Etc. So whenever you create a repository, a default branch will create that branch name is main branch. The branch name is main branch. Yes, understood?
Main is the same as master branch, right?
Main is the master. Old we call it as a master. Now newly we call it as a main.
Okay.
So main is nothing but a master branch. But old we can we call it as a master. And new we call it as a main. Yeah. So you understood the branch local repository. What is local repository and what is remote repository? So what is local repository and what is a remote repository? Right. So local repository. What is that local repository? So a local repository also. So what this is? So this is the local repository. What this is? This is a local repository. DS Git3 folder is the local repository. So local developer mission contains a .git folder. What is that? How you can recognize it is a local repository? Developer mission contains a .git folder. So developer mission set .git folder. So for example, ls-la, you see .git. So a normal directory, normal folder. So after the normal folder, it will not show the main, master or future. You see, right? These all are the branches. These all are the branches. How do you figure out this is a local repository? So after the repository, you have a branch. You have a branch, bug, future, main. These all are the branches. You understood? Developer mission contains a
Local, yes.
yeah.
So I'm saying that suppose we write any code in the file, then when we when we do git commit, then it will go into the local repo, right?
Yes, very good. I will tell you. So once you added the code here, working directory, something like that, Git3 repository, local repository. But when you write, right, it will not recognize the local repository that file. So when it will recognize, it will send it from staging area, working directory to staging area, from staging area to local repository. How we can send this file from working directory to staging area to remote repository, local repository. So these all are the untracked files. Untracked files will track by using the git add command. It will be tracking and the codes will be in the staging area. So from the staging area, you want to send it to the local repository by using git commit command. I will tell you everything. Okay. Right. Guys, understood? Huh?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, Pranjit.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Understood, right? We'll show you each and everything. Okay. So what is remote repository? This is the local repository, remote repository. So GitHub contains a code connect to all the developer machines. What is that? GitHub contains code connected to all developers machines. Developers machines. Okay. Guys, understood? So what this is? This is the GitHub contains a code. All the developers connect to this repository. All the developers connected to this repository. All the developers can connect to this repository. Understood, guys? So as of now, it will be very easy, right? So tomorrow we'll show you. So what we will show you tomorrow? So we'll show you the environment setup. So environment setup is nothing but a how to install the Git on local and how to create the environment setup. So what environment setup? How to download the that git bash git on in our local and how to install that in our Windows. Then how to create an account on. So how to create account on GitLab and GitHub will show you tomorrow, and how to create a repository, how to clone from here to remote repository, local repository. So we'll work on that tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Sir, which source code tool basically we will be using, sir, throughout the courses?
Throughout the courses.
Which source code tool basically we will be using, sir? Like
Which
there is a
source?
GitHub, GitLab, then yes. So I mean there is a
Yeah. I will show you
GitLab.
mostly on GitHub. And I will show you the GitLab also little bit about how to create how to manage, how to merge. Just I will show you will understand. Mostly I will cover only GitHub, and I will show you the cherry picking and merging, how it will be differentiate between the GitHub and GitLab. Okay. We'll cover it on mostly GitHub only.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Guys, any doubts? Anyone having any doubts? We'll show you tomorrow that working directory, staging, local repository, and the commands also will show you guys. So download git cheat. Yeah, so we'll show you that what is a git version, git init, what is git init, git status, git add, git diffo, git commit, git push, git pull, git log, git branch, git branch, git checkout, git stash, git remote -v. So we'll show you tomorrow those commands and we'll discuss all the commands. Okay, guys. Guys, anyone having any doubt?
So will you get that class notes?
Yeah,
Whatever
as I
you
told you, right? Note, soft copy, class notes, recorded videos will share via the Google Drive.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Guys, any doubts? Speak out, guys.
No, sir, clear.
Yeah. So Vivek, Amrita, Chintu Das, Likit, Nikhil. Yeah. By the end of this course, so you will easily understand the what is GitHub, and how to connect with GitHub. So how to work with GitHub. You will understand, guys. You will understand.
Sir, will you cover GitHub actions also?
No, will not cover GitHub actions. So that will be a separate topic that you are asking about CI/CD, right? GitHub actions, CD.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll not cover this course. That is a huge subject, right? So this will be a 5 days a cheat course. Okay. So this will understand the what is version control, what is GitHub, what is the difference between Git and GitHub, how we can push the code, how we can track the code, just able to understand it. So GitHub action. So those is the so I'm planning to give GitLab. So I will show you that part now. Maybe there or not there. So I'm teaching AWS with DevOps, guys. In that course, we'll cover you that GitLab CI/CD and Jenkins CI/CD. So okay, yeah, this GitLab part will cover you the CI/CD and the AWS DevOps. Okay.
Okay.
Yep, guys. Thank you. Thank you. We'll continue from tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
Thank
Yep.
you, sir.
Thank you.